Tag Show. Tag Show. That's gonna leave a mark, Taylor.
That's undisputed because I'm undisputed.
Really ready. Anyway, what's up, everybody? You're listening and hey, we're both wearing blue.
Yeah.
You're listening and watching to a brand new episode, season 4 of the Mixed Tag Show with Jenna and
Blue.
what's up, yo?
What's up? What's up? It's a very interesting week of wrestling.
It
More
has
interesting than
been
usual. Yeah.
very interesting and came at a weird time. The holidays are approaching, but
Hey, some people don't care.
I guess obviously, but we'll get more into that briefly because I know you like to go you're very long winded. How was your week?
Wow. It was cool. Did some family things with the kids. Did Disney on Ice. It was pretty dope. How about you?
Nice. A good week. Good couple of weeks. So we're continuing on that path of positivity, the power of positivity.
Definitely.
But before we actually get into the show, as you know, Blue came up with such a fantastic idea, put you on. This past week we had
Mr.
Darius. Go ahead.
Mr. Darius Carter, the All
Excuse me.
Father. The All Father. Yeah, he definitely was a dope person to have on, put you on. He really broke down his match. Like, we sat down, we whined some stuff. He talked about how, why he came up with this counter and, just this, who he is as a person or how he became the person that he is. And it was dope to see that and how he got into wrestling through his grandmother.
That's
It
what's up.
was a very good conversation. And if you haven't had a chance, go ahead and head over to our Twitch, head over to our YouTube. Yeah, and at the Mixed Tag Show on both. And give it a look and join us this Tuesday because
I make my interviewing debut with the series with Amber Rodriguez. I wish we had the
applause.
soundboard. Yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm a little nervous because this is your brain baby, right? So I gotta keep up the good
Momentum.
vibes, the momentum, that's the word, right? So I'm a little anxious about that, but it should be a good time. So I'm definitely excited. We get to watch one of her matches and just get a little bit to know about her.
And she did something totally different. She did a tag team match. So you get to be put on to a couple of people.
Yeah.
In one shot. So
For
yeah,
sure.
there's definitely no Amber has been on Straight Shoe Sundays with me. She's a really cool dude, cool woman, cool person. So used to say cool dude.
Cool bro.
Right. So it's very. I'm excited for you guys to actually get a chance to talk because I think that you guys would connect wonderfully.
I feel like we would, especially she's an esthetician. It's gonna be a struggle saying esthetician. You know how there's one word that you cannot pronounce. For the life of me, esthetician, it is a struggle, and I go to one every month for the facials and the whole nine. But for whatever reason, I cannot say this word. So it'll be fun getting to know a little bit outside of the
And she got her own
wrestler.
product line and everything.
Yeah, so we'll see, and it's something definitely to discuss. Outside of wrestling, she's a mother and an esthetician. So,
a vet.
yeah, so a military vet, yeah, well rounded. So that's definitely exciting to get to know her a little bit more. So look out for that this Tuesday on Twitch at 8:00.
If you get a chance, listen to her and Brian H. Waters for Breaking Glass Ceilings. Like, they really got a chance to really break down her life, and it was a very interesting listen on your favorite podcast.
I would listen, but I want to kind of get to know her on my own. If you get what I'm saying,
I get you.
Not and shout out to Brian H. Waters, but I just want to be a little bit organic.
You'll be surprised.
Not that we don't listen.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, like okay, instead of knowing in advance. Obviously, want to. Anyway, right. I'm going off tangent. But let's get into the show. You can follow us, by the way, on our social media pages on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Jenna Baby BAYDE, or at Blue Magic Grind, or at our the Mixed Tag Show. So definitely give us a follow. It's appreciated. Anyway, you want to start off? What are we starting off with?
Oh, we're gonna start off with.
As always, there we go.
I was trying to point at the Mixed Tag Show sign, like right here.
Here, there we go. There, right.
I'm trying to use the mic. I'm trying to use the mic stand as my direction. I'm trying to cheat.
Yeah, but see, it's just your mind goes the other way. Okay.
Right. But definitely we're gonna start off with the Survivor Series. Like WWE announced at 3:00 on Saturday. Hey, we're gonna announce it to the Survivor Series team at 3:30 on Twitter. And everybody's like, what? Like, why? Like, what is happening here? Did y'all forget y'all had a pay-per-view coming up? We don't get no random, like, pop-ups, no qualifying matches. It's just, hey, this is the team.
I just think, it's just like, obviously we have pay-per-views every month, which it seems like, I don't know, next year, maybe they just haven't came up with the names, but it seems like they haven't fully put their pay-per-view calendar in regards to what's going to happen each month. Maybe they're going to take back some, I don't know, but it just seems like sporadically,
like some pay-per-views here and there. Yeah.
But they didn't really put the full year. So I'm wondering if they're going to dial it back in regards to pay-per-views, or they're going to continue with the every month thing. But in regards to what I was getting ready to say, it's like, all right, Crown Jewel happened. So I feel like, all right, if we know Survivor Series happening next month and the brand split, all right, now it's kind of do the promoting for the next. Yeah, exactly. Right. I understand, the superstars have to get acclimated to their new rosters if they moved or whatever, but it's just like, okay, what are we doing? So again, now, like, as you mentioned with Survivor Series, not only there hasn't been any build to it, and it's like, okay, you're just going to release the teams. There's no, PowerPoint. Like, it's
like no real reasoning behind it. No story behind it.
There's no story. I can't get invested into it. And as we know, Survivor Series is in New York at Barclays Center. And again, I haven't felt inclined to sit here and, inclined to just like, let me find a ticket and go to this pay-per-view. I might even sit this one out, to be perfectly honest with you, unless if I can find a ticket for super cheap. But yeah.
So let's take a look at this card real quick. We have it right here. Just from the offset of looking, the entire Raw team just came from SmackDown. So with that alone, to me, I feel like the draft shouldn't happen before Survivor Series, because like, how are you gonna be proud of your brand when you just got there? Like, literally, you just got there like a couple of weeks ago, and now you're supposed to represent that flag. Is like kind of awkward to me.
And before you even continue with the men's, first of all, the men's team, it's like, this is no shade to Rey Mysterio or Dominic Mysterio. Dominic shouldn't have been on the team. Especially when you have someone like Bobby Lashley that has been holding it down, been in the right spots of Raw for the whole, since the pandemic started, up until now, he's been holding it down. That's and if I'm picking teams, right, it's kind of like dodgeball, and I'm going to pick the most athletic, strongest person. I'm picking Bobby Lashley. I'm not picking no shade to Dominic Mysterio or Rey Mysterio at this point, because they haven't been really doing anything. I'm gonna pick Bobby Lashley. So I just like, how do you sit here and come up with these teams? These are weak. This is not the greatest teams that they picked.
Right. And to take it a step further, like, again, no disrespect to anybody that's on these teams, to me, the main event people on these teams are Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins. Everybody else has just been, in random storylines. The only person that has a consistent storyline has been Baron Corbin. Mm-hmm. And maybe we could make an argument for Xavier Woods, because he just became king in the ring. But everybody else is just like random people that's, thrown together, like you said, and there's no real story behind it. Like, Survivor Series, like I always say, is one of my favorite pay-per-views, because that's my first memory as a child. This is not the Survivor Series that I remember or accustomed to seeing. Like, what's the bad blood between these two teams? Like, If that's like it doesn't make any sense at this point. Why are we still calling it Survivor Series?
Yep,
Like, there's
I
no
agree.
point of it.
I
And
agree.
it,
And then if you go on into the women's roster,
yeah,
I won't. I listen. I will say the Raw women's team makes sense.
why?
I well,
Oh no, wait, I'm looking at the wrong team. But here's the thing. I'm sorry.
mhm.
Real quick about the men's. Why you take? Because I'm about to make the same point about the women's too. Why did you
I
take one
can't.
member of
First
the?
of all, I can't see you. Like,
No, I got the poster up for the people that's watching, so you can see as we're dissecting,
okay,
the teams or whatever,
okay.
so you can see what we're
Because
talking about.
I just want to see
Um,
your emotion. I want to see your
I know,
face. Not that I know.
I
Get over
know,
yourself.
like,
Like, good.
but like to me, it's just like, all right. So you want me to take it down? I'll take it down. To me, it was just more
You
like,
can put it back.
why would you
You can
have
put
one?
back and forth.
Why would you have one member of the New Day, but not the other member on the same team if they're a tag team? If you're gonna put a team together, you put Dominic and Rey Mysterio together, but you don't have no
Mhm.
tag teams on the other side. When you had a chance to do it with Kofi Kingston, and
Yeah,
then
specific. I would have definitely would have put Kofi over Baron because he's been doing well with his character change for a while now. Whether it was when he
broke
became
Corbin.
no, even before that, he's been excelling in regards to the different characters they've been giving him. Going back to I forget that character. You remember
King.
when no, remember a couple of years ago when he had that like authoritative figure type character?
Oh,
Like
the council or something. There's something like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So it's just like ever since then, and whatever character change they've been giving him, he's been like nailing this one. It was cool with the Vegas thing, but now it's just like, especially
yeah.
with this guy following him, it's not working and not believable for a Survivor Series team. So it's going to your point. Why isn't Kofi someone who's been someone you can rely on for how many past years? Should definitely be on this team.
And he's the hand of the king. So how is he gonna
Exactly.
hand of the king and is not gonna have the king's back? And on the other side, the reason I brought this up is, how do you have one of the women that's the tag team champions on the team and don't have the other? Like, why do you have Rhea Ripley on there, but not Nikki Ash? Like, to
I
me, that was
agree.
like, like,
No,
what are
I
we doing?
agree. I agree. But if you think of the going back to 2019, SmackDown's team, women's team was remember. I don't know if you remember that team. It was Sasha, Lacey Evans, Carmella, Dana Brooke, and Nikki. That was a really, really, really um bad team, right? And like obviously Sasha was the one that had to like kind of carry the team. So in this sense, I can see why Rhea is the one that's there and not Nikki. I actually thought it would have Dewdrop would have been in this team. I
Doudrop would
feel
have
like
been good.
yeah, I feel like there's someone missing from that Raw women's team. But honestly, I'm not against this Raw team. To be perfectly honest with you, I
But
mean,
it's just because you know what it is too. I kind of look at it as like, remember when they had like tag teams as part of Survivor Series teams? It was just tag teams versus tag teams, and then it was like randoms in between, and women's and stuff like that. So that means that this is going to be the only Survivor Series match that we're going to get that night on Survivor Series.
I
These
mean,
two.
we don't know. I mean, obviously, I mean, no. And what do you mean in these two? Because they're probably gonna do. That's why the Usos aren't there. And who's
I get
the
it, champion versus champions, but
yeah?
for that, what I'm saying is that like, again, like I said, these had teams created like a Survivor Series team of tag teams. You know what I mean? Just to fill in the cards. Or are you just gonna do the
Not necessarily.
champions?
No, but the only tag team that's on in the Survivor Series team is Dominic and Ray and Dominic Mysterio. That's the only team there.
I understand that. I I I, I just liked it
Listen,
when we had
I
like,
no, I understand what you're saying, but in the sense of going back to because we've been focusing on the men in regards to the women, in regards to I can understand why Rhea's on there as against Nikki. Honestly, Zelina was gonna be there just because she's the queen, right? And
right,
Bianca, obviously, Bianca's Bianca. Liv Morgan
right,
looks like she's about to get into this program with Becky. That you
Becky.
know what we were discussing. What are the things to talk about for this episode? That's what I wanted to discuss. Um, And Carmella, is a staple in the women's division, right? So she was going to be on that team. Now my issue is more so the SmackDown women's team. It started off fire. It really
Right.
started off fire. Sasha, Shayna, and Shotzi. And then it just went, and this is no shade or disrespect to Natalya, but Natalya has not been really on TV for a minute. Naomi, why wouldn't Naomi be on there? That's super.
Right.
If you're gonna
And
have Natalya, cool, but Aaliyah, who hasn't done anything, hasn't even, you know what I mean. And this is no shade or knock on Aaliyah, but maybe it's because the storyline with Shane, not Shayna. Well, yeah, sure, Shayna's involved in it, but with Sonya, but it's just like you haven't done anything in regards to making a story in regards to Survivor Series to think that's why she wasn't on the Survivor Series team, So
I feel like that's coming.
this the
I feel like that's
inconsistency.
coming this. I feel like that's coming this week. I probably feel like Naomi's gonna bring up like Washington on the team, and they can probably make her pick somebody to take their spot, which is gonna end up being Aaliyah.
Sure, but I think that goes back to what we were saying in regards to everyone was blindsided or like what the hell in regards to announcing the teams on Saturday as opposed to why didn't we put this during the show? So then Naomi
Right.
could have questioned X, Y, and Z, and then that match with Shayna would have made sense because I don't know if you watched. No, I don't think you watched this past episode of
Daddy duties.
SmackDown. But you watched Rampage anyway.
Because they're in bed by that time.
Whatever. Anyway,
And I barely
Shayna-
watched that.
Naomi and Shayna had a match. She won until Sonya came out and said whatever, and then they had the match again. Yeah. So all that could have played into you telling us who was going to be on the teams prior, right? And this is what, again, with WWE, it's just like sometimes they do things right, and a lot of times they do things wrong. This could have been a perfect segue, and made more sense as to why Sonya did what she did. Obviously, we know she's messing with Naomi, but it's just like Survivor Series is 2 weeks. You can still build on Survivor Series and still have all these storylines going. So hopefully, like you said, in the next couple of weeks, this is what they plan on doing in regards to Naomi taking Aaliyah's spot. But do you know how fire the team of Sasha, Shayna, Shotzi, let's say Natalya too, and Naomi, that's a fire team.
I feel like Natalya could have been like, who else is on SmackDown right now?
I'm sorry, Tony. Tony would have been perfect.
Tony
That would
Storm.
that would have been an elite team. Sasha,
Right.
Shayna, Shotzi. That's a tongue twister. Sasha, Shayna, Shotzi.
Storm.
Tony,
Storm.
Right. So Sasha, Shayna, Shotzi, Storm, and Naomi. That would have been a fire team. Probably one of the better teams we've seen in the past few years.
Definitely.
It's unfortunate. But speaking of Shotzi, again, I don't know if you've been watching the past couple. You said you didn't watch this past week, but the week before that, she had attacked Sasha, so she's full heel, and she had a really, really, really dope promo backstage against. Well, not just putting the roster on notice, and Sasha's her first person that she's about to run over, and it's been a long time since I've been captivated by a character. Like I've always liked Shotzi, but it was just like now this is not only a different side, but you get to see, well, wow, okay, now you pair her against someone like Sasha, who we know is always going to make someone a star. She has the right look in regards to the hair, the gimmick with the tank and the helmet and the tats. She just has a really good look, and she's reckless in the ring in a good way. So putting her and Sasha together, especially like in a TLC match, hopefully, we can see a lot of good things in a budding star. So that's dope to see that they're going to try to build her up. And so by putting her on the Survivor Series team too, I'm excited for that.
I definitely see some of the interactions between those two, and like you said, I'm very interested to see it. At first, I was sad that they broke up Shotzi and who was her teammate?
Tegan. You can't be that sad if you didn't know who it was.
I drew a blank, but I just feel like at a time right now you need more tag teams than singles. Like who's really challenging for the tag team titles right now? Let's be honest.
Well, I don't know if I had this conversation with you. No, I was having it someone else yesterday in the sense of the same conversation in regards to tag team, the women tag team. Just like at this point, WWE needs to draft and build women tag teams and not just put random tag teams together. Just for this point that you just brought up.
Yeah. So it's just not. I like tag teams, so it's sad to see a tag team go. But I'm glad that she's found her footing somewhere else and now going to this program with Sasha. So yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about some AEW. So the TBS Women's Title Tournament is actually underway, and we had the first 4 buys, which was Thunder Rosa, Jade Cargill, Nyla Rose, Chris Statlander. We talked about how that could have been a whole other bracket. Either way, we do have some of the matchups. We're gonna have Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter, Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet 2, which I'm very excited about because I don't know if you watch the Rhodes show, Rhodes to the Top. They talked about. You didn't. So
I watched one episode. I think the season finale last week. Was it the season finale?
Yeah.
Okay, so I watched.
So
or a couple of weeks ago, yeah.
So the first episode, they talked about how Jade Cargill and Red Velvet had their moment, and like Red Velvet felt some type of way how Jade smacked her. That was like a kind of too hard. So that's how that match happened. So Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet 2 is going to be very interesting. I feel like they really set that up for that. Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida. She did a very good match with Serena Deebs. That match is, I don't know if you've seen that match, but that's like match of the year candidate. Like those two really went at it.
These matches are being held on where?
Well, some of the matches happened on Rampage and some of the matches happened on Dynamite.
Got it. Okay. I don't know why I missed that.
Yeah, so like the Shida and Deeb match was like so amazing.
Yes, the Shida and because that's the and Serena, that the match was this Shida's like
50 now. First
50th win. I did. That match was fire. That was a fantastic match. Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
So we have Shida versus Nyla Rose, and then we have
I was about to say. Sorry, I was about to say her 500th win. I'm like, well, no, that'd be impossible.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
We got Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho. So it's a very interesting tournament. They're trying to crown the winner by January 5th. And I like the tournament so far. It's been better than the Queen's tournament, as everybody's been saying at this point. And it's sad that it comes down to that. But also, with that, there's also coming up. Is there any matchups that you're looking forward to on that right there? I just want to do a quick update because, that tournament has been on point.
Well, again, one of the people that I'm interested in is obviously Ruby Soho. And I'm a fan of Britt Baker, right? So I'm cool with her retaining her title. But this is like for someone like Ruby. I mean, there's a lot of qualified women, but I want to see Ruby get her first title. In general, I don't know if she got titles in the Indies, so so I'm excited to see that for her. And I thought she would have been the one to take the title from Britt, right, the doctor, but that wasn't the case. So I'm definitely excited to see how she progresses into this in this tournament. But it's definitely being held, I guess, better or constructed better than the Queen's Crown tournament for WWE. So
I'm rooting for Jade. This title has Jade name all over
I'm rooting for Jade too. If it's not Jade, I'm sorry. If it's not Jade, it's Ruby for me. It's just that, and it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. But a lot of the wrestlers that they had, Jade has a great look. I'm for her. Whatever. It's just there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, right? So
yeah, I feel you. I understand.
So that's my only thing. But I'm definitely if she deserves it, right? In the sense of like it's like you said, it's perfect for her. She's been dominating. So why wouldn't she be crowned as that champion? So those would be my two picks in regards to that and what I'm looking forward to.
Also coming up is this weekend is Full Gear, AEW Full Gear. We finally get Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page. We're gonna have Britt Baker versus Tay Conti. Yo, how great has Tay Conti been on AEW? Like talking about one of the missed spots from NXT.
Ty Conti. Yeah.
My bad.
Okay. No, listen, I hear you. She's been a bright spot, and I was confused because didn't she have her moment in regards to trying to compete for this title again?
No, she's been building up her wins and stuff.
She didn't go. She didn't have. She didn't have a championship match before. She did.
I don't. Did she against who? Against Sheeta? Probably.
Maybe. Yeah. She's had. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. You're right. It's definitely a miss spot, I guess, in regards to NXT. But I don't think that's NXT's
It
fault or
happens.
her fault. It happens, right? And I want to say, like, a lot of people think, this program doesn't know how to do this or this. Sometimes it's not a right fit, and this was a perfect fit for her, and she's been able to really excel, whether it's her popularity, her in-ring work, her everything. So I asked this question on our Twitter, I think on Wednesday, and it's just like, is she the one to take the title off of DMD, Britt
No,
Baker?
she's not. Unfortunately.
So who's the kind of, not
Thunder
to take
Rosa.
this off AEW? But
Thunder
Thunder
Rosa.
Rosa already had that match with Britt.
That's a steamboat. That's a steamboat.
It's just, I hate to bring it to WWE. It's kind of like it's like WWE's problem with who's going to take the title off of Roman. So now it's kind of like
there's no response. There's a response to that one, but this one is a response. It's Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa gotta get that W back. If you notice, they have been missing each other since that match, and it's to build this long-term storytelling. Like it's gonna get there. Because look at it now. Thunder Rosa's first opponent in the tournament is Jamie Hayter, who
came and she did come in, and then she did come out. She did come out. What was it on Dynamite to help, right?
Right. So this is where it's rolling towards. Also, we got the Lucha Brothers versus FTR. That's gonna be probably match of the night. I'm not even gonna hold you.
I know. Before you continue, just in regards to Britt Baker, do you have anything to say in regards to like her comment she made on the Washington Post? We discussed that in regards to NXT.
Oh, we discussed it. She said, I mean, like I told you, like Britt Baker comment in the Washington Post is something that a lot of us have said about NXT 2.0. It's just not. It wasn't just her place to say it. Like you didn't have to say it. Like, I understand.
Unless the interviewer asked her
directly. Yes.
Directly.
I didn't see everything. I just see the quote. The quote. If the interviewer didn't ask her that, you didn't have no place to say that. Was she wrong? No, because that's what we all saying. I just don't like you said. Like sometimes I don't want the other company to say what the talk against others if it's not provoked.
Yeah, and then just quickly, I love Britt Baker. She's one of my favorites in AEW, right? But I just feel like, again, this unnecessary bravado. Yes, talk your shit and be proud and confident of who your brand that you rep or your promotion that you rep. But this unnecessary bravado in the sense of, because me and you had this conversation where I said, ironically, she was inspired by that same system. You said that she's talking about NXT 2.0. I don't know if she specify that or not, but
it's even in the quote. They talking about NXT 2.0. They talking about the 2.0 situation.
It's just, again, but I feel like with NXT 2.0, it's just like, and this hasn't really shied away necessarily from NXT. So again, going from that's the same developmental system that produced the match that inspired you as a wrestler.
It did shy from the system because they blatantly said they don't want no more indie people, which NXT was built of indie people. They want people that
but remember it was a mixture when NXT first started. It wasn't all indie people per se, like, or at least established indie people. Like
it was supposed to be built around the ideas. That's why they brought in the people from Ring of Honor. That's why they brought the people in from Impact, and that's why they brought all those people in, because that's the idea that they had, was to imitate the indies.
Correct. Afterwards, but remember, people like Sasha and Becky, yes, they came from the indies, but they also understand they came from like really unknown indie indie promotions, right? So it wasn't necessarily that's still, Ring of Honor.
I understand that, but that's still like, even because They came from Shimer. That's still the same system, like of Ring of Honor and all of. They just don't have no TV deal. It's the same system. They just don't have no TV deal. The only person that didn't come from the Indies was Charlotte. Out of those 4 horsewomen, everybody else touched the indie scenes, and that's what the thing. That's why NXT was supposed to be. NXT now is nowhere near that.
Yeah, but I
at
also
all.
feel like with NXT, at one point, remember what I think it might have been. When did AEW start? In
2019.
2019, right? So, and then prior to that, want to say 27, 2018. That's when like indie wrestling really, like in regards to Ring of Honor and New Japan, in regards to really got commercialized around that time. Because remember, that's when Cody and them, with the Bullet Club and everything.
It was before that, because
No, it wasn't before that.
You know why I say
No.
that? You know why I say that? The moment that CM Punk mentioned Ring of Honor and all that on national TV, it created a whole new whole new wave of fans looking for that particular style.
Okay,
So
but
that was
what I'm
like 7
saying
years ago.
you're not, but you're missing what I'm saying in regards to, like, when did Cody go to New Japan? Around 2017, it was like
Yeah.
2017, right?
Yeah.
So now, and remember how Bullet Club, even though Bullet Club, like I said, New Japan and everything, and I want to specify before any marks be like, what are you talking about? I understand New Japan had its following and it was popular, and Ring of Honor and other places were popular, but I'm saying it really caught on. Not, I don't even want to say caught on, but I feel like got really popularity and commercialized when Cody and them joined Bullet Club, right? So at that point, that's when NXT started hiring guys like Ricochet and like a lot of, like, you get what I'm saying, really indie, like, flips type, you know, type dudes, like high flyers. That's
High
that's when
flyer.
they that's when yeah, that's when around that time when NXT really tried to compete with that style of wrestling. And then remember the whole pairing with what's this place called that they were pairing with? Um
Evolve.
Evolve, right?
Evolve.
At that around that time, right? So that's what I'm saying. NXT started changing really around 2017, 2018, trying to compete with that. And then when AEW started and really trying to sign all these type of people from New Japan and really focus on that, and then obviously it just didn't work. So that was more so my point, in the sense of, I feel like NXT system has changed more so around that time, not necessarily when they first started, in my opinion. I felt like
Right.
there was a
But
complete difference. Not to say, not to say that they didn't
no,
sign
no, I
indie
understand
people.
that,
You
because
know
at
what I
the
mean?
same time, like I know that there was, like, it was a mixture of indies, and it was a mixture of people from the fact, like, their developmental, that try to blend together. Like you said, it
Mm-hmm.
didn't really work.
Mm-hmm.
But again, back to the comment that was being made, I feel like that's just towards what NXT is now, which is nowhere
2.0,
compared.
2.0.
2.0 is nowhere near any of what we're talking about right now, because they already made
Mm-hmm.
it known that they're looking for athletes that they can
Mm-hmm.
mold into wrestlers, and that's what she was
Mm-hmm.
commenting on. If the interviewer brought it up, cool, say what you say,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what everybody's saying. But if it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
brought up, then you shouldn't have said nothing. Like, that's
Yeah,
how I feel about it.
yeah, yeah. And
But
again, yeah. But outside of that, because we already took a little bit too
right,
much
we
time, we're
well,
going back to full. Yeah, going to full gear.
yeah, Lucha Bros versus FTR. It's amazing to me that FTR is AAA champions and Lucha Bros are the AEW champions, and I feel like they're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
have
yeah.
a great match, And it's
The
funny how they're
irony of
coming out
that.
to Midnight Express music, and and I'm just loving FTR right now.
Listen,
Darby Allin,
before you go on to the in regards to the next match, but going to your point with FTR, shout out to them, because it's always, even when they were in WWE and NXT, it just always seemed to be something in regards to the injury bug, right? And then with
right?
in WWE, they couldn't really get a footing once they got called up to the main roster, especially with the injury bug, right? But with this, like, they came to AEW hot, the injury bug hit them again, and it's now they're hot again, and it's
They like
just,
never
and
missed a
it's
step.
right, and you know how they're so passionate about tag team wrestling. So the fact that they're like one of the pillars of this division and
Right.
constantly doing great things, um, it's gonna be definitely a dope match in regards between them and Lucha Bros.
The funny thing is, I was on the Spaces this week, and they was talking about how in tag team you're only allowed one breakup of a pin. And we was on Spaces like, what? Since when did they make this rule about this in tag teams? Da, da, da. And I remembered the FTR brought it up, so I hopped on. I got on the mic. Like, FTR said that this was a rule. That's why they only break up one tag team, one pin every match. Everybody's like, FTR said it. Oh, that's real. When it comes down to tag team rules, these boys they know it. So yeah, they're real life tag team for real. Darby Allin versus MJF in a Pillars match. Those are pillars of AEW. That's going to be a dope match to watch. We're going to have Bryan Danielson versus Miro for the number one contendership for the AEW title. Who you got on that one? That's an interesting one.
Miro is like really on some like next stuff right now, and
yo, his character is amazing.
His character is like.
Did you hear what he said about being put in this past week?
No.
So first of all, shout out to John Moxley. We sending our love and prayers as he's going through his rehab, and Miro is his replacement. Miro went. Miro goes, I cursed you, my God, because I was supposed to be your champion, and you rewarded me with another shot by putting me in this tournament. I'm like, yo,
Miro,
this guy's on it.
He's on another level, and Bryan Danielson has something to prove. I feel like in regards to being the greatest, or the best in the world, and now there's no, it's all bets are off in regards to being babied or whatever. He just wants to go out and just get physical, which is a little scary for someone who's injury prone like that. Yeah. And then obviously Miro will be being very aggressive, so I hope it's a great match, but obviously as safe as possible.
I got Miro on this one only because I can see Hangman Page.
Yes, I said Miro. Title. Yes, you asked me. I agree. I would take Miro just because I feel like the way he's heading right now, he would be due for an actual heavyweight title shot pretty soon.
Or unless they want to give Bryan Danielson and Hangman Page to give him that extra boost by be the first one to pin Bryan Danielson, I could see that happening as well.
Yeah, either way.
That might be more helpful for Hangman Page than beating Miro, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think either way you go, you can shout out, and also you mentioned Miro and John Moxley, and then we saw Kalisto or what's his name now on Samurai Del Sol or something like that. That's his name.
Samurai Del Sol, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been some controversy surrounding him and Chris Jericho because he spelled John Brody Lee's name John with an agent. Whatever. It's not important. It's stupid, but just I wanted to bring that up that he debuted it in AEW this past Wednesday.
Yeah, this is dope. Just stop doing the lucha, bro. Like
he's a luchadora.
No, but that lucha chant that he's doing was created in WWE. Not even with him. It was created with Sin Cara and I forgot the other person that he was teaming with.
Yeah, he took that gimmick with him. And that's what people associated with him. Like, yo, if that's what people are gonna associate with me, and I'm not gonna get any cease or desist letter, by all means, I'm gonna continue it. You gotta make your name some way and continue so that follows you. Anyways, we're taking too much time.
Inner Circle versus American Top Team with Dan Lambert. I don't really care for this.
You don't have to go through the whole thing. Go ahead. What's the other match? We have Malachi Black and Andrade versus Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson and Pac. That should be an interesting match. It's, again, it's just interesting to see Cody Rhodes and the fans, how they completely turned on him. And I asked this question also on Twitter, like, what is the reasoning behind that? Is it because people are tired of the all-boy American gimmick? Because we've seen that with Hogan and then Cena, right? Or is it because he keeps going to do things with Hollywood? Not necessarily Hollywood, but filming things and whatever.
It's more so he gives. I don't know if you've ever seen the Boys on Amazon Prime. Their Amazon Prime show.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. No.
He gives off Homelander vibes. Like everybody's booing you, and you're acting like you know what I'm saying. And you're like, no, I'm the hero here. Like the promo he did this past week was pretty dope. But the thing with Cody is that people are just tired of him. Like he's always winning somehow. Like in feuds. Like even with like Malachi beat him twice. Should have left it at that. Somehow he still beat him the third time to end the feud. Even though Malachi won the feud, but it's just like you got the last win. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Brody Lee. Even though the situation with Brody Lee demolished him. 2 minutes, took the title. He still found the way to came back and win the title again. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's giving. I don't want to say Triple H vibes.
No, it's giving. It's a great analogy. No, it is giving Triple H vibes, and the irony. Remember when what was it? Was it All In? That was the first ever pay-per-view.
Right.
Remember he came out with the sledgehammer. The irony of that to like calling your own number now. That's a great analogy. Actually, you're absolutely right.
I think the reason why I wouldn't because the title's not in the picture, but it does.
But
like
it's
it
still
just gives
calling
that
your own
vibes.
number. It's calling your own number, and again, it goes back to, like I said, the comparison with Cena and Hogan. Like it's just this one particular prototype. I'm like all American, which he's very all American, country first, and I think that's probably, I think, contributes to that as well, and probably contributes to the fact just what you just said, in the sense of like, all right, you find a way to still win, even though you lost the feud, you still found a way to win. You leave for whatever amount of months and come back and you're back in whatever. So I think all that ties into play as to why people are booing him. And then it's funny that when you mentioned Rhodes on Top, the episode that I did wind up watching, and he was discussing how it was like getting to him in regards to fans are not receptive to or being receptive to him. And it just goes back to being, again, AEW does a lot of things, but it's still, at the end of the day, it just shows that it's still the same wrestling minds in wrestling that can be out of touch. That's being out of touch, not realizing why people are not being receptive to you.
No, he knows. He just doesn't want to be the heel. He's like, in the promo, he says it. He's like, I know why you guys are booming. He knows that, they want him to turn heel. But his thing is that.
But you just said that they know he knows that they want him to turn heel. No, the issue what you just said, that he didn't say because I'm always winning X, Y, and Z, and that's what I'm saying on the episode of Roads to the Top, or on the Top, or whatever it's called. That wasn't what he was saying. Right. So that's being out of touch, not realizing. You just think that people want you to go heel. It's not that people want you to go heel. It's because of the point that you just made. He was even trying to tell Brandy to come back as face, and she was like, no. She recognized that people view her as a villain, as she said, a bitch. So I want to come out as that bitch, as that executive, whatever. He was like, no, I thank you because you're your mother now. That's being out of touch and not realizing that.
Right. And his excuse is that, not excuse, but his reasoning is that, the reason why he wouldn't turn heel or accept what's being brought to him is because it'll be too easy. It'll be easier. That's what I'm saying. He got that Homelander vibes. It's like, no, you guys gonna accept me as a hero, no matter what y'all do. From the way he dresses to the way he's been saying, it's Homelander vibes. Point blank, period. That's the way I look at it.
I don't know who Homelander is.
Homelander. So if you watch The Boys are about superheroes that save towns, but behind
it's like
the scenes,
a dark twist, right? Yeah.
But
like
the behind the scenes, they're really just like really bad. Like this one. Spoiler alert. There's one part in Homelander where him and the Wonder Woman type superhero was in the airplane, and they can't save everybody. So he told her like, all right, let's just let them die. Let's go. And she's like, no, can we at least get the girl? Like the baby, the girl that was crying, and she's like, no, because then she's gonna tell everybody that we left everybody to die. So let's just dip and let them die. Baby too. Like he's just a jerk. On camera, he looks nice. He's like, no, I'm the hero. Like you guys are supposed to love me. Like that's what it is. Like that's why I feel like cool. If you have a chance, watch The Boys. This is a pretty good one. But yeah, that's Full Gear. Before we end this out, let's talk about.
Wait, we didn't really go in depth in regards to Hangman and Kenny Omega.
Oh no, that's a given. Like that's what? That's months in the making. Like that's a year
Yeah, but
in the making.
who do you have?
Hangman. Hangman's to be the first person to kick out of the One Wing Angel. This is the setup. Like nobody has kicked out of the One Wing Angel for so many years, and at one point we realized it was for Hangman Page, and this is his shot right here.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm not the biggest Kenny Omega fan, so I would definitely love to see that.
if this doesn't happen, it's gonna be the biggest travesty in wrestling history, especially in AEW, because this is like on a platter. Here you go, like.
Yeah. All right,
so
but
yeah.
that's enough AEW because we're running out of time. We're gonna end off the show in regards to the WWE releases that happened, the surprise WWE releases that happened
Before
past
Christmas,
week, before Thanksgiving, which a lot of them have a no 30-day compete clause, so that will end before Christmas. So that means unless someone gets picked up immediately, unless someone gets signed immediately, that means by Christmas they will not have a job. So just keep that in mind. But you want to name some of the names that got released this past week?
Yeah, so it's Frankie Monet, Amber Moon, Scarlett, Oni Larkin, Karrion Kross, B Fab for whatever reason nobody knows, Jessica May, Zeta Raymer, Trey Baxter, Katrina Cortez, again why, Jeet Rama, Grand Metalik, Lindsay Dorado, Keith Lee, Nia Jax.
Who asked for their release? Grand Metalik or Lindsay Dorado?
Both of them asked for the release. Keith Lee had, I believe, I don't know if, yeah. Nia Jax, Mia Yim, Harry Smith, who nobody even remembered that was signed. Basically, they signed him and did his dad's Hall of Fame induction and then fired him. And then Eva Marie is going again after being here for like 2 months.
Yeah, and so WWE, Sean Ross Sapp reported that that John Laurinaitis sent in the email that it was because of budget cuts. And then Brian Alvarez mentioned in another tweet that apparently WWE made about $256 million in profit in revenue, I guess, this past quarter. So budget cuts, and then you made $256 million.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. So obviously that led to believe from a lot of people believing that it's not the excuse as to why people got fired. But apparently, the main reason that some people got released was because of their vaccination status. At this point, if you travel outside the country or you go to specific arenas, certain states, you must be vaccinated. And there were some people that seem to have not been vaccinated, such as Nia Jax.
Scarlett.
I don't know. Karrion Kross and his wife Scarlett. I don't know. Again, I don't know how true it is, but this is because we don't know anybody's vaccination status. But that's
right. But that's the rumored team. The rumored people are rumored. Please remember, I said rumored. Nia Jax, Scarlett, Karrion Kross, and Eva Marie. So those are the 4 that's not vaccinated. Again, I use the terms for budget cuts. Let's be honest. Like, if this was a vaccination situation, you would have made vaccines mandatory for your company and give your contracted employees, your independent contracted employees, a timeline to get it done by. According to Nia Jax's post this past week, nobody mentioned anything to her about her status or made it known that was mandatory.
She said she took time off because to get her mental health together, and then when she got a schedule to come back, and then they were when she requested more time, they ignored her and stopped. Yeah, they stopped communication with her.
I mean, this is just like, if you look at the list, there's a lot of people. When I heard cuts coming, I kind of saw Keith Lee on that list, only because Keith Lee recently did an interview and said that he tried to understand what Vince McMahon wants from him in terms of the character of Beer Cat, because it was not his idea, as some people try to push out there. Once he started speaking out, it was just like, all right, they don't like that kind of stuff anyway, of like people being let in the third wall or whatever.
And now the narrative that's being pushed currently is that he was hard to work with or whatever and complain, which we
Angry
know
black man.
that's right, and which we know that's far from the case with Keith Lee. It's like he's like one of those like
Big
gentle
teddy
soul
bears.
type of person. Yeah, exactly. So I don't think anyone believed that.
And I find that is interesting that they didn't just release one person; they released their significant others in some instance, like the Keith Lee and Mia Yim and the Scarlett and Carrie Cross, and it was just
Yeah, which is
like
funny because I thought with Frankie Monet, I thought I wouldn't
John
have been
Morrison was
surprised to
next.
see John Morrison was next, just because they haven't really been using him since ever since the Miz went to Dancing with the Stars. So, and it's just like, and there's no direction really with uh John's character. So
He just backstage
I,
24/7
I,
title
I
stains.
really thought that was going to be the case with Frankie. But here's the thing in regards to Nia Jax. You and I and plenty of people in the wrestling world knows that she's been pretty much an unsafe worker. There's been a lot of attitude issues that we've heard over the years, and just whatever the case might be, kind of probably operating in the sense feeling that she's untouchable, because I said this on Twitter that she is Samoan, and I hate to bring
Right.
heritage or race or whatever, but it's something about
Certain
wrestling is
families, certain
families
families are
that
protected.
just had exactly. So we just thought that applied to Nia Jax. So that was a shocker to see that she was released, especially now after the prior year she should have been released,
Right.
right? Just because of how she is as a worker. Um, so to use that as listen, and as I think everyone knows that I think you should, you and I can both agree that everyone should be vaccinated, right? It's
Right.
enough research has gone on for people to say to make a decision whether they want to get uh vaccinated or not. You know,
Right.
we've seen people have a better chance of surviving COVID with being on the vaccine as opposed to not being on the vaccine, right? That's
Correct.
just what it is right now. Whether you agree with that or not, that's just the actual fact. Do I feel that people should be forced?
No.
No. So I understand people having their stance in regards to that they don't want to they want to take it at their own time. I don't agree
Right.
with the excuses that they're making, but so I think
Choice.
it's pretty
Believer
you have a
choice.
choice, right? So I think it is messed up that someone decided to take a break because of mental health awareness, especially when this was the same company that put out said that you can contact so and so if you're
Yeah.
having issues with in regards to mental health,
Yeah.
to you know ghosting that said person and not getting that person that help if they said that they have mental health. So that's just completely fucked up. And then again, I understand business is
Sidebar.
business.
I'm sorry. Before you start that, in terms of mental health, remember when Carl Anderson spoke out about that, and everybody attacked him for speaking his mind about how to
Well, because
handle
it
mental
was
health.
because it was the wrong time that he said it. He made it more so about it was he wasn't wrong, but it's about learning how to read the room. At the time that he mentioned that, it wasn't the time to mention that. That was I think a lot of the
I don't
reason
know.
why
Like
people
I said back then, it could have triggered something for him. He just made a comment on Sean Ross's post. It was like "f them." That's what he said,
yeah,
and
but
everybody
yeah,
took it and ran.
but maybe it's a situation where reading the room, kind of like, again, I've said this on Twitter. People just lost their jobs, and fans are adding these persons like, oh, it's a shame that so and so lost it. It's like they know they lost their job. You do not need
I
to
don't understand the
tag. I
infatuation
I
of
don't
tagging like
I don't
people.
get
Like
that. I don't get that mentality when there's something a controversy going on. There is no need to think that they're going to respond to you. What do you think you're going to
yeah,
do by tagging that said person? Oh yeah, let me read what John 1247879 has to say. Like, they don't care. They just lost their job, and so that's what in regards to
it's
reading the
kind of it's
room.
kind of it's kind of the same thing with the John Moxley situation when everybody's like, yeah, see, he lost. See, if he was in WWE, he would have like been drinking as much and or he would have got help with rehab. I'm like, yo, this is not the time for this little WWE versus AEW stuff. Like, what is going through you guys' minds that think that this is okay to comment at this point in time with your own personal agendas?
Yeah, I don't
Why?
know,
Why do we need to do
but
this?
I don't know. But it's just, again, going back to the simple fact of it's business is business. A lot of companies, your favorite companies that in general that we support, do this every day. Let go people and say that they're for the employee and they're not, and they're really not for the little employee. So it's not necessarily a thing of it's just WWE and no one else, but it's wrong. It's not right, especially when you made $256 million. I get there's traveling costs and then the stage production and paying a lot of employees, but then why is it that this said employee makes X, Y, and Z, and then you know
They're not touched. They're untouchable.
no, it's just like other people. Like, why did we bring in Eva Marie? You got it, my, and remember they got it before she came in. There was mad releases in the women's division,
Yep.
and then she got signed, and I'm pretty sure she got signed to a decent
Amount.
contract.
Yep.
So it's like just to let her go when we knew it didn't work the first time. One, two, there's a lot of people that uprooted their life and changed their life for this opportunity. Prime
Uh,
example, BFAB. This is the conversation we had in regards to people getting called up. Hit Row, although they had a good thing going, they still needed time to prosper in NXT. So the
yeah.
fact that you called them up
And then
and
release
did
one of them.
and release one of them, which one could argue she gave them their identity, just being that one woman in the group, right?
Not only that,
Had
let's keep it. Here's another thing: B Fab and MJ Jenkins were the original Hit Row. Like, you know what I mean? And MJ Jenkins
so
was
is it
released like earlier this year or late last year, and now you released the other person that came up with the idea of Hit Row. Like, what are
and
we
it's just
doing?
like, again, it goes back to the point of you literally called someone up, and it'd be one thing if it's been months
And she
and
signed a new
months and months
contract,
and exactly. So now you're giving someone the hope of like a new life and money and
stability.
business and stability. And I'm sure she, again, you moved. I don't know where a lot of these people was from, but I'm assuming like probably moved to XYZ because this is the life that their new life. And just like that, for it's it's inhumane.
Not only that,
How do you sleep at night? Sorry, not to cut you off. How do you sleep at night? Like, I did this. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna call you up, and then 2 weeks later, now we're letting you go. How do you sleep
and
at night?
and I don't know if you saw what I sent you. Even with Katrina Cortez, like now her work visa is
I
gone.
sleep.
So
Yeah,
now she has
yeah.
to sell everything that she
Yep,
owns because she
yep.
can't get her work visa renewed because she's now been let go, and now she has to
She's
sell
not from the
everything that she
country.
owns and move back to Mexico.
She's not from this country, mind you. She moved to this country at a young age, so where English wasn't even her first language. So this is a whole new like a culture shock, right? It's like, yeah, things may not work, but I'm all in favor of let's see how we can make it work.
Right.
You
You
can
could at
How do you
least
keep
you could huddle for one more week just to get her renew her work visa and then do what you needed to do just to give her some time to reestablish herself. I knew you knew her visa was coming up. That's probably why you were like, all right, let's do it now before every you know what I'm saying? Like it falls on us again. Like
it's just like how do you sleep at night? And then with Mia Yim, it's like again the clip that we posted. It's
I
like,
got
yo, you went from people came was cheering for her, for
to
you
get
to
signed.
not do to do
She
nothing.
had
And the only
she,
reason why she got called up, it seems, I don't know, because her husband was. I don't know. I
so here's
really
the
don't know
crazy
at this point.
here's the crazy thing. Here's a crazy stat for you guys. Mia Yim was called up for reckoning and only had 2 matches the entire time she was on the roster. She was bounced from Raw to SmackDown and back to Raw during this draft, right? Frankie Monet
Yep.
only had 6 matches since her signing. A former Impact champion, longest reigning Impact champion, 6 matches since her signing. Why are you signing these people if you have no plans for them?
And then the thing is with Ember Moon, Ember Moon. That's a travesty in itself. There was no reason why there wasn't more done with Ember Moon, right?
It's
And it's
it's
just like, and and for that matter, you brought her down to NXT, and it's like, okay, so let her cook in NXT in the women's division.
nah. They got a new vision. They got a new vision for NXT. She don't fit that, and she don't want to be in the main roster most likely. So it's like, you You know what I mean? Like it's just weird, and then it's like, yeah, I don't want to comment on reports that I'm hearing because I don't know if it's true or not. But it's just the way that they're moving right now is just crazy.
Oh, in regards to that they want younger women
Yeah,
talent.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm hoping that's not. I'm hoping that's not true. Just because they're gonna turn around next week and say, well, now we want women to be sexier and in bras and panties,
back to divas.
and we're calling our women superstars uh divas again.
Yeah,
Again, and it's mind boggling again because we have this conversation all the time. Yes, it's Vince McMahon's company, right? But when your daughter has a prominent position in the company, you have what? Your grandkids are you have like four or five kids that
granddaughters. Yeah,
are granddaughters. Is that what you the example you want to show women in your family? I don't understand. At one point, when do you sit here and be like, you know what, Dad, this we got to do better with the women, right? You gave us very little in 2018, essentially, to shut us up because of the whole Saudi Arabia thing or whatever the case might be, or whatever. And then they got, or back in 2015 or whenever, when Give
right.
Divas a Chance, um, trended. You gave, just to cool out the fire or whatever the case might be. But it's like you revert back to what the company used to be instead of evolving, and it's just
Yeah, it's crazy. Overall,
it's
I thought
unfortunate.
our thoughts and prayers for everybody that's on this list that has been released. We know that you're gonna find better places. Like at this, it's crazy that in this year alone that they released over 100 people. It's like 4 rounds,
But
if I'm not mistaken,
you know
of
what,
like
and this
releases.
just to kind of end off the episode, you and I did have this conversation, and one thing you had told me, you had said, is essentially, I'm paraphrasing because I forgot the exact words you used, but you said that it's just going to be like AEW can pick from so many people at this, there's a picking
Yeah,
or whatever in regards to what's
there's a nice
left
pool.
over. Pool, yeah, and I'm just saying, yeah, cool, but it's just I want to keep reiterating in the sense of like, just because there's a pool, that doesn't mean that all these people are going to be right fits for
They're
AEW.
not.
One, two is just we saw. I keep saying we saw what happened with WCW in regards to signing all these different wrestlers. Maybe that's not going to be the case with AEW just because they have different things or whatever going on. I just still feel that the crop of wrestlers that have been released this past year, I hope it's just not AEW and it's one and done. This is how Impact can continue to grow. I hope whenever Ring of Honor decides to come back, you know what I mean?
That's a whole nother conversation that we should have
That's a
had,
whole
but we don't have the time. But like that whole Ring of Honor situation is not because Sinclair already left. Sinclair's going to WoW. That was
yeah.
their bread and butter for TV, and the owners of Ring of Honor is $12 million in debt. So it's
Well, maybe listen, someone might come along and want to buy
yeah,
Ring of
definitely,
Honor. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying is, in the
yeah,
sense, I hope that it's just not WWE, AEW, right?
of course not.
Because at least if we have an Impact again, if Ring of Honor or WoW or
GCW. There's so many other options out
GCW,
there.
there's so many options and that people can really get behind and put their money towards or whatever. All of this doesn't affect a lot of these people instead of
Yeah,
just WWE and AEW, because
no,
that's a recipe for disaster, as we've seen in the past couple of years, just having quartering talent, right?
yeah, definitely,
So I'm just hoping that it's people get signed, but it's not just one other promotion and it's elsewhere. So we'll see.
definitely. Just to close out the show, make sure again if you ever had a chance, check out "Put You On" with Mr. Darius Carter, the All Father from this past Tuesday. This upcoming Tuesday, we do have Amber Rodriguez joining us at 8 p.m. Eastern, live on Twitch, November 19th,
8
with
p.m.
the one and only Miss Jenna, baby.
What did you say? You just said November 19th, November 9th.
I didn't say 19th.
You just
If
said
I did,
November
my
19th.
mistake. November 9th
You just
at
said
8
November
p.m.
9th,
Eastern.
19th. November 9th. November 9th. November 9th. November
Okay.
9th.
This
live
upcoming
at
Tuesday.
Twitch, 8 p.m. I will
All
be
right.
I will be hosting. Hopefully you're there and support me.
I mean, I'm gonna be running the background stuff, so yeah.
Oh yeah, so it's all good. It's all love.
I can't.
No,
You act like I could leave it. I can't do that. But yeah, so if you haven't followed us already, follow at Miss Jenna Baby BAYBBE, at Blue Magic Gospel Sound, also at the Mixed Tag Show. Follow us on Twitch, on YouTube, and that's it, right? We out.
That's our show.
Peace.
Tag show.